Hello, and welcome to the Argyle CIO Leadership Forum, driving digital transformation and empowering innovation. My name is Vicki Lynn Brunska with Argyle. It's great to have everyone joining us today. Just a couple of notes before I turn things over to our esteemed speaker for this session. First, a quick reminder to stop by our sponsors' virtual booths at any time during the event and for the following week. Our partners are committed to providing you with valuable content and a great overall experience today. At any time during the event, you can visit their virtual booths from the main agenda page. And now, without further delay, I'd like to introduce our speaker, Craig Sisson, Strategic CTO, BMC Helix. We are so excited to have Craig with us for a thought leadership presentation titled Reimagining the Economics of IT Through Agentic AI Transformation. Welcome, Craig. Over to you.
Thank you, Vicki Lynn. Really appreciate the opportunity to share with you what BMC Helix is seeing, and really an interesting conversation, not just about driving automation or efficiency, but really reimagining the economics of IT on this journey that we are all on with agentic AI and transformation at some level or not. As Vicki Lynn said, my name is Craig Sisson. I've been with BMC Helix Software going on about 13 years now. That's kind of true because BMC Helix recently split away from BMC Software, and we are about 150 days into this journey of just delivering service and operations management and enterprise service management software. Prior to coming to BMC, I actually sat in the corporate IT world for about 17 years. And so I know how difficult your jobs are to really identify and go on this journey together. A couple of quick agenda items on here. We're going to really define and provide an understanding of what the service ops market looks like. We're going to talk about some strategies and approaches we're seeing in the market, including an open first strategy that we believe fast tracks the transformation. And then we'll talk about the ROI and value and ultimately find a way to help discuss some challenges that we're often seeing in the market as well. I mentioned a minute ago that I was in enterprise software or the IT space for 17 years before moving to the dark side and becoming a seller. We are seeing about 50% of people in the market today that are really sitting in a no decision state because it's difficult to buy software today. You're getting drowned by information, and you're really looking to understand the market better because you have to not only assess the feature functions and capabilities that you've identified as being needed, which are often commoditized, making it difficult, but you also have to understand the customer's roadmap, their direction, who they're partnered with, and really stake a career investment in many cases for you and your company that are going to have to live with that for the next 3 to 5+ years as you go on this transformative journey. Let's not sugarcoat the fact that every day AI feels new to us. However, the accountability and expectations for driving meaningful results are expected by everyone we talk to. It is the top conversation we start with and end with when we're talking to customers. And the biggest question is, how are they going to deliver results? And we're seeing massive results being asked for, right, from our customers and what they're expecting to save. And in some cases, they're expecting to save in areas that we haven't liked to talk about. And sometimes that's really what's changing the economics of IT. It's the ability to drive up the efficiencies of your workforce and potentially need less of them because of what agentic AI can really do for you, your customers, and ultimately your business. Now, we know that the volume of work in IT and operations and service management are ballooning. Complexities are not changing. They're only getting more complicated. The pace of change and the expectations are always being asked for faster, and you're being asked to do it with less. I would love to see everybody's budget going, but that typically goes to the business side of this. Now throw in making a good decision with generative AI and agentic AI, and that decision gets really complicated in the market today. BMC Helix is focused on being a complete ServiceOps leader in the market today. And let me define ServiceOps to go really much like DevOps or SecOps, focusing on bringing together the common components that we can really drive efficiencies from across service and operations management. But that also extends into driving a better employee engagement, not just for IT, but also across the enterprise. And we can't forget the importance of SecOps and compliance and audit aspects that have to happen and are expected from a service ops space. So when we look at what an agentic service ops platform looks like, we're focusing on observability and optimization. We're bringing better solutions to understand how we can apply agentics to discovery and to help remediate things faster. We're looking at how can we make responding to incidents easier and you to be able to manage both changes and configuration components in a much faster and more efficient fashion. Not forgetting about the ability to deflect tickets from a self-service perspective, or even scale into the best practices around service management into other aspects of the enterprise. Those are the actions that we're focused on making sure that the use cases are aligned back to. And that's really where we're shifting and changing the conversation of where can we apply AI and agentics across the platform that helps you really take advantage of that. The benefits we're seeing across the industry, we've got service desks that are solving problems, not just chasing down tickets or looking for answers in multiple places. We've got end users that are now able to unleash their full potential because they're not bogged down by something that doesn't work, a system not being available, or even just trying to get access to a particular piece of software or forgetting their password, right? We're helping customers take action faster when it comes to observability and AI ops. And we cannot forget about the importance of making sure that across the use cases of ITAM and audit and vulnerability management, that we're taking advantage of the information and the power of the platform today. Now, I think this chart's been around forever, and this has always been the goal of operational efficiency, right? Taking that low value, low complexity work, or even high value, low complexity work, and getting out of the day-to-day features and functions and trying to shift up into the white space of the work that we want to be doing, but often aren't doing because there is just some keep the lights on work that has to be done. This is certainly where Agentics is starting to play and bringing a considerable amount of value to the customer so that we can get up and over that hump to the work that we will be doing. And the way that we're looking at this is that all employees are going to become managers of agents. And as we think about the best way to engage those agents, that's really going to be a conversation we're going to have in a minute, which is the approaches of this. But let's just think about the situation that we have today from Michael Lee, who is a NOC engineer and SRE, against what an agent's going to be able to help us do. In many cases, those first levels are manually troubleshooting and escalating different issues to find the right thing, the right space, hopefully finding the right person to help them fix it quickly. Agentics and Helix GPT, which is our agentic go-to-market strategy, automatically troubleshoots those for us, right? And summarizes those common issues. We're also looking at level 2 type opportunities where, instead of staring at screens to monitor system changes or even writing really complicated rules to try and understand what I should pay attention to, which can be difficult in complex incidents, I'm going to be able to isolate the root cause of those situations, right? Summarize them and even come up with best action recommendations. And when I get to those more level 3 type use cases where I'm optimizing systems or I'm understanding the infrastructure dependencies, I'm also going to be able to automate code generation for fixing issues, to automate the actual execution of the remediation, and in many cases, to be able to update the configuration components dynamically as they happen in real time. So there's certainly a couple of approaches that we're seeing in the market, and you're either in this situation or another in many cases, and we'd like to kind of offer a third approach that we believe will help accelerate this transformation journey to agentic AI. The first one's really a siloed approach for enterprise technology stacks. Best of breed solutions, sitting with teams or groups of people that need that information because it's highly volatile. Maybe it's an application performance management solution that's covering the top 25% of your applications. Maybe it's a particular network solution because of the uniqueness of the network monitoring aspects. Maybe it's a particular set of knowledge that doesn't work for a line of business or facilities, but that information has to reside somebody else, and likely multiple ticketing solutions. And what we're realizing with generative AI is that it's most valuable when it can be trained on all of the enterprise data, right? It's difficult to take advantage of the information and get visibility and context to how it can best solve the problem when it only has part of the information. So I think there's certainly an aspect of where most or many people have a siloed versions of how they're running software in their organization today. The other extreme is around a monolithic approach. So this is taking a huge rip and replace, move everything into a siloed approach, a Salesforce or other competitors, where I'm just going to do as much as I can on the platform today, regardless of whether or not it has the features that I need, but maybe it's close. This can often be costly from a rip and replace perspective. And bring challenges when it comes to vendor lock-ins. I think everybody's fallen victim to Broadcom's strategy and how they're approaching some of their legacy systems and solution, and nobody wants to be there. When BMC Helix looks at really unifying IT operations and service management across the actions that we were talking about before, we're encouraging customers to take an open first approach for both operations management and service management. You may not have to rip and replace your top solutions that have the capabilities that your site reliability engineers or your networking resources may need, right? How can we give you observability in operations? How can we give you ticketing across multiple ticketing solutions so that you can leverage AI and data and leverage it on the cloud platforms of your choice? The way that we're approaching an open first agentic platform is to give you first a choice of deployments of either on-prem or in your cloud of choice. Now, this is particularly a top conversation for customers that don't have a choice of whether they're on-prem today or may want to move to on-prem or SaaS in the future. I'm thinking of oil and gas. I'm thinking of power and electric type spaces that are often just in a position where going SaaS or going to the cloud can be difficult. And this doesn't have to be a forever decision anymore. It can be a decision in a conversation that you can make today, but have the ability to move those containers into an on-prem version as well, getting the advantages of the same platform that you have today. The other differentiator in the market today is giving you your choice of AI and making sure that you're using your data in a way that's meaningful to you. Some of our competitors are building their own AI, and that is going to require them to pass the GPUs onto you or double charge you for that. We're using a bring your own model strategy that's going to allow you to use the investments that you're making in your AI strategy today to be able to use your security and your data and keep your data in the secure fashion that you need it in. There are a number of different competitors out there today that are in their line saying we're using your data to train our AI, and that's not sitting well with InfoSec today. And so from a bring your own model or an open first approach, we believe that you having the choice of your AI engine today and the ability to change it in the future is going to be critical to taking advantage of that open AI strategy. The other big investment we're seeing a lot of customers make is in their collaboration tools and really driving more and more collaboration through the market today. And many of those are Teams or Google Meets or Slack. And we want your users to be able to choose their best interface or the interface that makes the best sense for them. So they don't have to toggle between a portal, or they don't have to toggle between something else that you're using another chat bot or where the chat bots live. Agentic AI aspects really allow us to really allow the agents to talk back and forth with each other. So you don't have to worry about which agent's going to answer it. We're going to let Agentics do that for us. So if I come back to my Helix platform and I look across the actions that I'm trying to take and really the use cases we're focused on, we're wrapping Agentics around all of that. And we're not doing it based on a skill. So don't be fooled by others that say they have 50 agents or 75 agents. Look, at the end of the day, the way we're approaching it is we think we're going to have between 25 and 30 agents that are role-based. And we're giving our agents a set of skills and a set of actions that they can take within the platform across service management, across employee engagement, across AI ops, and across security and compliance, so that your agents can begin to work together and take advantage of how you expand not just the roster of the agents, but really expand the skills and the roles so that your people can become managers of agents that are going to make them more efficient today. Now, delivering value or meaningful value around this is important to every customer. So we're certainly still driving a lot of conversations on how do I make a decision today that's going to align to what I'm doing? And back to those core benefits, we're looking at making sure that you can extend and amplify your workforce. So how are we able to drive tickets or drive cost deflection overall? How are we able to get people information faster so that they can get back to their jobs? That's a huge benefit that we are looking at from some of the agents and getting them to work faster. Also capturing the non-headcount savings. So the cost avoidance of noise reduction and finding problems faster, reducing time to resolve or even identify certain situations. The ability to create aspects of what's being done are really those non-headcount savings at the end of the day that are allowing customers to measure the value that we're doing. And then there certainly is a risk aspect from a value perspective to ensure resilience and compliance and scalability of the platform that you're looking at. So number of customers are looking at less than 10 minutes to create a service model, which used to take hours and days in the past. The ability to get significant noise reduction without writing hundreds of rules around your event noise reduction or identifying new patterns and training new patterns. Looking at being able to isolate the root cause faster so you can get down to reducing the impact that it has and even avoid outages because of the ability to understand the scale from a capacity perspective and what can be done. Agentic is really changing how we're engaging with the platform and taking action on the platform in a much easier and faster fashion. So a number of customers from Ericsson to BBVA to the DNV and Vodafone are seeing significant value. I actually had a chance to speak with the IT leader at DNV that was responsible for rolling out one of our agents in their service desk area. And they were able to automate a significant number of their services to really drive a 24/7 goal that they had for just their IT organization. But what I loved most about her story when she was talking to us was about how she really approached a rollout. And I think every customer's got to find the right way that they can roll out an Agentic's approach. They actually rolled it out to their service desk and IT first before they rolled it out anywhere else. Probably some of the toughest critics in the market today. And then they extended it to the different business groups as they were ready to consume it. I just thought that was a smart way to really approach easing into an agentic world where we're all starting to get used to, replacing searches with AI responses in even our day today. Ericsson has seen a significant or slated to see a significant improvement based on the business case we've identified for them with greater productivity. BBVA was able to achieve 100% compliance rolling out on the Helix Agentic platform. And Vodafone is reducing the amount of issues that they're having to work leveraging the AI ops solution today. So tons of value already coming out from our customers leveraging the Helix AI agentic platform today. Vicky, let me stop here for a quick moment and see if anybody had any questions.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Craig. Yep, we do have one question from the audience. The question that came in is, do you have any tips for measuring ROI of early agentic AI deployments?
Well, that's a timely question. That's great. um, so, so with all of our, as a buyer of software, when I worked in corporate IT, and specifically, maybe even more importantly, as a seller, I certainly think laying out a business case and really identifying and understanding ROI is important. And as you're making a strategic decision, getting into the conversation with a vendor sets expectations with them. It sets a clarity of how you're going to achieve it. And it makes sure that you have something to measure in the future and or course correct on. Now, we've got a number of different ways we're looking at measuring the success of some of our agents. From an employee navigator perspective, we're looking at end user conversations with the virtual agents and savings that they're going to be able to get, as conservative as you want to make them, depending on how many conversations you expect to drive each year, can have significant savings and value for global hourly workers, not even significant highly paid workers. Another one is around our service collaborator agent, which also can help summarize service requests for agents. So this is reducing just a significant number of cases that are managed each year by a smaller fraction amount of time they may spend in it, can have huge savings too, because it's summarizing what's happening and they're not having to review everything that sits within the ticket. Creating knowledge is another huge space for many of our customers, and finding easier ways to even localize those knowledge articles, right? To translate them and to create them in different languages, but also just to improve the level and quality of them can have huge savings across the organization. And the ability to get insights from across all the data versus just the subject matter experts helps reduce risk even. And so how much time can we save from a change risk manager or our change risk advisor just to help better have risk predictions when it comes time to saving and reducing and avoiding risks. So there are lots of ways to measure ROI today, depending on what targets and goals your organization has. Vicky Lynn, any other questions coming into the chat?
One moment. Yes. What are some common architectural or governance missteps you've seen companies face when pursuing open first strategy for agentic AI, and how can they be overcome?
Okay. So I think that leads in well to kind of what are some potential issues to watch out for? What are questions that we're getting from some customers? In many cases, when we're beginning to engage with a customer or a new customer that is looking to find efficiencies in service management and in operations, they are having a kind of their scope is not large. They don't want all the agents. They don't need all of the capabilities. They may have one project or another. And so when you're looking at costs, in many cases, the competitors and ourselves can make your costs really small if you have a small scope. And what we're encouraging a lot of our customers to do is, that's fine. Let's start you on a small scope. Let's start you with what you need for the first year or two, but let's also make sure that you have a good understanding of what it's going to cost you when you get to the agentic state, when you get to want to deploy more and more agents. Because as I mentioned before, there are certain companies that are going to be charging you for the GPUs they're using to process. So expect their prices to go up. Whereas because of our open first strategy, we expect to be able to keep our costs relatively flat, because we're not paying or investing in our AI, the support and maintenance of all of that. So make sure you have both the scope of your initial project where you want to enter, but you also have an idea of what that next level or that next purchase might be, because that may be the difference maker that actually blocks you out of the market and could, in some cases, destroy your strategy and plan to be able to continue to invest in a platform and really take it further. Cost can be a prohibitor for the budgets that we're on. We're also having a lot of conversations around getting caught up in feature function. There are a lot of capabilities in service management and IT operations that are commoditized today. And a lot of times, as we're expecting you to do your research and understand the capabilities and the feature functions that you need, many of those are going to be checklists on, can someone do this or can they not do it? And it's difficult, even if you're rating them from 5 to 10, or look at how we compete. We work with our top competitor, not work with them. We compete with our top competitor. Like, we're usually 8s and 9s across the board, right? What does the difference become from a feature function perspective? So also make sure that you're taking a deeper look at the strategy and the approach, so that you understand where that customer is going and going to be. Then I would also say, ultimately, take a close look at who you're partnering with and what their competing interests are from a vendor perspective. Some of the top players in the service and operations management are going directly against the Googles and the AWSs and the Microsofts, and that's going to hinder their ability to want you to invest in their AI, even at the end of the day, and what they're going to do from an integrations perspective. So make sure you have a good sense for who they're partnering with and who they're getting closer with in the market to help navigate not just the 1-year goals that you have, but the 2, 3, 4, and 5-year goals that you have, and that you don't have competing interests, or they don't have competing interests that may go against your current and or future strategy. So hopefully that helps bring some ideas on what to avoid as you're looking at an open first strategy, or even as you're looking at whatever your strategy you're looking at, whether it be a partial siloed or a somewhat monolithic strategy, to really begin to understand how you can change the economics of IT with Agentic AI. I want to thank the Argyle Group and Vicki Lynn today. And Vicki, that's all I had. I'll pass it back off to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Craig. That was an excellent thought leadership. So much good practical info. Everyone, you do have Craig's information, his LinkedIn and all of that. And I know we'd love to hear from you. And I also want to thank everyone for joining us today for this session. This session, along with all of today's content, will be available on demand following the event. And our next session will begin after a short break at 1:10 p.m. Eastern Time. And that will be a keynote presentation titled Smarter AI, Better Decisions. Planning engines meet generative models. Please click the join button that will appear on your screen to be directed to that session, and we look forward to seeing you there. Thank you again, Craig.